Randwick today. I reckon this is one of the toughest races on the card. I like Deposition, but I think Ronnie's got a soft spot for the Randwick specialist, Soho Square.
Oh, I certainly have, Ken, and he looks sensational today. I'd be more happy if we did have a track upgrade, but it is definitely dead. That could just be a little bit against him. Very short in the tote. He's a lot better than that in the ring. Telesto's been solidly supported outside, and he looks extremely well. He'll back up well. And he really caught the eye of the bottom one, March Hare. I think he could be a different horse in blinkers. I'm going to go out and have a saver on him. I'm on Soho Square, but I'm definitely going to go and have a saver on the tote on March Hare.
Yeah, well, March Hare races well at Randwick where he's trained. He's a big, strong horse. He does go very well here. Johnny, they're milling behind the barrier. The likely leader we see there in the blue and white colours, Prince of Praise.
Almost certain to lead, Ken. He's just a natural leader, as is St Covert, which he proved conclusively in winning the Sires Produce Stakes a short time ago with Wayne Harris on board. Now, I've just been looking at the list of previous winners of this race, and to a purist racing person like myself, it's almost like reading a holy book. Look at some of these names: Amonis, Wanuka, Chatham, Peter Pan. Ajax won the race 3 years straight, 38, 39 and 40. What about Burnborough, Tulloch, No Home, Sky High, Winona Girl, Tobin Bronze? You could go on and on and on. Some of the all-time greats. Great crowd, not nearly as big as it was on Saturday when they had the biggest in 16 years, 39,000. I haven't heard an official estimate even at this stage, but I would think better than 20,000, certainly better than 20. Well, Shane Dye is over at the starting point, and there are at least 4 horses in the race that Shane knows well. He's ridden Zinders, of course, Telesto, Romany Conti, and March Hare. Shane, you won the Champagne Stakes on March Hare this time last year.
Yeah, I certainly did, John, and he looks wonderful. I think he's the one to beat in the race along with Telesto. He looks a little bit light, March Hare, and I'd rather see them looking light than a bit heavy, as St Covert proved in the last race. Telesto looks super around here. He really does look well. You know, he's going to get a long way back. There's no doubt about that. Romney Conti, well, she's sweating up a bit, and, you know, it doesn't help these mares if they sweat up. Soho Square, Mick Dittman's mount, he looks wonderful. He's walking around here as calm as anything, and Mick gives him a big chance of winning today. Once again, John, the barrier, it doesn't matter where you draw here in the mile, because you've got 800 metres to the first turn, and there's plenty of time to get across and to save ground, and most of the mile winners draw out wide here, John.
Shane, Excited Angel has been one of Australia's busiest mares. She's had 51 starts. She's won 11 of them. Ran a terrific race in the Doncaster, was only 3 1/4 lengths from the winner on Saturday. You don't see mares back up like this 2 days later in this class very often.
No, you don't. She performed very well in Melbourne over the Spring Carnival. She's in front of me here. She looks good. She gets back. That's the only thing. But then again, Telesto's going to be a long way behind her. But she's not sweating at all, John, and she looks ready. And, you know, she's going to get a lovely run.
OK, mate, thanks again. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Shane Dye riding Old So Tip, a former Theo Green galloper, and Shane's posted over there behind the 1,600-metre barrier with a bird's eye view of these runners. Now, March Hare, It's All in Fun are in the gates. Now, there's Surface Paradise going up with last year's Doncaster winner skating. Telesto beaten centimetres in Saturday's Doncaster goes up ahead of Javelin. Deposition about to join the line, wearing his customary tapes on all 4 feet. Prince of Praise about to go up, looks a ready-made pacemaker in the race. And this good Victorian mare, Excited Angel, who ran such a big race in the Doncaster on Saturday, is backing up, and she's about to walk up to complete the line now, and they're set and ready for dispatch in the AWA All-Age Stakes. Set, starter Bill Cooper, heading to the rostrum, and they're ready for dispatch in this big Group 1 event. March Hare, the inside runner. Off in the all-age. Telesto very slow today. He'll be 4 or 5 lengths behind them in a twinkling, and bouncing out in front, Prince of Praise going through quickly as March Hare into second spot, followed by Skating, It's All in Fun. Then Soho Square, Skillful Star, followed by Deposition and Zinders. Further back, Romany Conti, Surface Paradise, followed by Javelin and Excited Angel. And tacking on at the tail of the field in double quick time today is Telesto in the run to the first corner. Prince of Praise is in front, led by a length and a half to Soho Square on the outside of March Hare. Square, and then Skillful Star 3 deep on the outside of Skating, and It's All in Fun. A bit more than a length to Deposition on the outside of Zinders, followed by Romany Conti, Surface Paradise. Then Excited Angel on the outside of Javelin, and last Telesto. They've slowed a bit now as they come to the crossing at the 800. Prince of Praise led, Soho Square second, March Hare third, followed by Skating, and Skillful Star is obliged to race 3 deep. Then It's All in Fun and Zinders, followed by Deposition. 2 lengths away, Romany Conti on the outside of Surface Paradise. Well back, Excited Angel and Javelin, and 2 lengths away, last Telesto as they come to the bend in the All-Age Stakes. And now they're fair dinkum coming around the turn. Prince of Praise the leader, Soho Square getting closer. March Hare in third place as they turn for home, being hard ridden, followed by Skating, Skillful Star. Then It's All in Fun, Zinders and Deposition pull to the outside. Telesto is about to come into the clear, but he's a mile back as they top the rise. Prince of Praise tackled by Soho Square. March Hare behind them. It's All in Fun hard up against the inside rail. Telesto can't win. 100 out. Prince of Praise fighting back. He's grabbed the lead again. Prince of Praise forging clear, and here is a boil-over in the All-Age Stakes. Prince of Praise ran them off their feet to beat March Hare. Third's close, Romany Conti or Soho Square. Then Deposition, Skillful Star, It's All in Fun. At the head of the others, wide out Telesto, followed by Excited Angel, and then Zinders, Surface Paradise, followed by Skating, and Javelin is last of all in the AWA All-Age Stakes. Oh, Prince of Praise, $49 something, 70. $49.70 for the win and $10 the place. Second, number 16 will get second. That was March Hare, place dividend $2.20, and it's very close for third between 2 Soho Square, $2, or number 12 Romany Conti, $4.30. Ken.
What a result for Craig Carmody. He rode a double here on Saturday. Now let's watch the start here. That's Deposition, you can see next to him Telesto. Telesto didn't want to come out in the pink colours, and he dead set let them go and then said, OK, now I'll chase you. Well, he doesn't usually do that. Let's switch to the turn and have a look at them on the turn. Now coming to the turn, that's Prince of Praise in front for Craig Carmody. Outside him is Soho Square for Mick Dittman. And back on the rails in the white cap with the red striped sleeves is the horse who finished second, March Hare, ridden by Mark de Montfort. Prince of Praise was in front all the way. Craig Carmody won a Group 1 race here several years ago, the Champion Stakes on Style of Century, exactly the same way, leading all the way. And good to see young Craig ride another Group 1 winner. There he is in the last 50 metres. Prince of Praise responding to Carmody's whip. TAB number 5. 49.70 on the tote, and what a performance. And I'm sure we'll find an excited Craig Carmody. I'll swing over to Shane Dye. I reckon he's caught up with Craig by now.
Yeah, I have, Ken, and what a buzz for Craig Carmody, his third Group 1 winner. And how do you feel?
It's terrific, Shane. You know what it's all about. This is what matters winning these type of races. And just like to thank Ben Sabello, who kicked up for me on this horse, and he told me what a fine horse it is, and he's won the day.
Did you give him a chance before the race? Because he was a 50-to-1 chance.
I thought he was a chance. He ran very well, and he was a little underdone on Saturday. But he's got out in front, and they left him alone, and he kicked away nicely.
Well, congratulations, Craig. You go and enjoy your success, and all the best to you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Shane. Well, it is a lot different in races anywhere when you're left alone in front, and that horse was left alone in front. Soho Square couldn't go on the turn. He was a bit disappointing. He probably likes more speed on. And March Hare held up for a run for a little while, but when he got clear, it's hard to find an excuse. He was still beaten a length and a half at the line by this 50-to-1 chance. And there's Craig Carmody bringing him back, trained by Bruce Wallace, who's been coming over here for a few seasons with Kingston Bay and Prince of Praise, and they always seem to pick up races. It was nearly a big weekend with Kingston Bay only being beaten a nostril by Pharaoh into second place in that thrilling finish in the Doncaster. Craig Carmody takes off his hat. He'll salute the crowd with his skull cap, and he's a fine young man, Craig Carmody, and I'm sure he's very, very excited. Paid his manager, Ben Savello, a compliment, said that Ben kept telling him how good Prince of Praise was and what a genuine chance it is, and it was a genuine chance. As we saw, history is now that's Bruce Wallace, the trainer, leading Prince of Praise back. Bruce only a young man, but an excellent trainer. Okay, there he comes in now. There's a few people here think that there could be a protest by the second horse, March Hare, against the winner, Prince of Praise. That well may be, but I know Prince of Praise moved out, but he still won by a length and a half. It's a pretty decisive winning margin. We'll stand by and we'll know more about that later Prince of Praise is first over the line, and that's what counts. There's Ben Savello there. That's the excited man on the right. Craig Carmody's manager. Craig is laughing just as much. Well, on that happy note, we'll leave Randwick for a moment and then come back with more racing on the wide world of sports. There's been a sensation here at Randwick. There's the winner, Prince of Praise, but I use the term lightly because there has been a protest by the second horse, or the rider of the second horse, Mark de Montfort, against the winner, Prince of Praise, for interference from the 300 metres. Now, it was quite apparent that he did come off the rail in the straight, Prince of Praise, and there's certainly grounds for protest. The margin of a length and a half, though, might be very relevant. Right, these are the provisional dividends. Remember, they're still waiting on correct weight, and that won't be decided till after the protest. But if the placings stand this way, the winner, Prince of Praise, will pay $49.70 the win and $10.20 the place. Number 16, March Hare, will pay $2.20, and number 2, Soho Square, will pay $2. Okay, now let's look at this replay and see if we can pick something up. That's Prince of Praise in front. Now, March Hare is the horse immediately behind him on the rails. Now, as you can see there, de Montfort comes off the rails to go outside Prince of Praise. And it's probably quite interesting that he finished up having to go inside of Prince of Praise to finally get a clear run. Now, in front is Prince of Praise. He's drifted off the rails out towards Soho Square there in the purple cap. De Montfort squashed between them a little bit. He's got a check and then cross back across the heels of Prince of Praise to go inside him. Definitely lost his momentum, which could be quite important. Now he goes back inside. You'll notice a lot of momentum was lost there. Prince of Praise lost no momentum, and you can see now, after being against the fence, there's probably room for 4 horses to go up inside him. So it's pretty interesting, and March Hare's still getting checked at this point. He's still trying to go between Soho Square and Prince of Praise. He hasn't switched back to the rails, which he finally does, and he was continually checked there, I'd say, for something like 70 or 80 metres. Now he says, well, blow it, I'll let Prince of Praise go, and comes across inside him. Those pictures you can see there are from the steward's room. That's Craig Carmody on our right with the predominantly white sashes as they look, white cross sashes and the blue sleeves, and Mark de Montfort wiping his brow. Mark is in March Hare's colours of white with the black spots and the red striped sleeves. They're just, that's Pressman behind them, the owners, the connections, John Morrish on the left there of Mark de Montfort, the trainer of March Hare. Bruce Wallace will take his place, and all parties, both or jockeys, trainers and owners even, are given a chance to have their say about what they think of the respective merits of the protest, how they saw it. They can then ask questions of the jockey on the other horses, and a man who knows a lot about protests is Shane Dye. Shane's here with me now. We're just picking up these snaps from the steward's room. Shane, both jockeys will be on edge at the moment.
There's no doubt about that. You give you evidence and then you have a look at the film and you see what happens, and then you know whether you're going to get the protest or not, Ken, as soon as you see the head-on of the race.
I was surprised at the amount of interference. Definitely Prince of Praise come out on March Hare for something like 70 or 80 metres. Came from against the rail, and there was room for about 4 horses. De Montfort lost his momentum, had to check, and then come back inside him. He was beaten a length and a half, but there was a lot of interference shown.
Well, I was on the pony, so I never saw it, Ken, but I will say the side-on, I find they don't take a lot of notice. It's the head-on. And if March Hare's shifted out and taken, Prince of Praise has shifted out and taken March Hare's running, he'll lose the race.
Okay, let's watch another replay. Give Shane a chance to see that. Now, Shane, as you can see now, they're against the rail. Soho Square outside of Prince of Praise, and the other horse, March Hare's, between them in the white cap with the red striped sleeves. Now, you watch for how long he tries to go between these horses and the distance that Prince of Praise comes away from the rail.
Well, you also got to remember the cutaway's coming up, Ken, so it's going to look a bit worse than what it is.
Good point.
Because the rail cuts back and there's enough room there anyway. There's no doubt that March Hare's trying to get out, and he was entitled to the run looking at the side on. But you see there now, the cutaway's finished. Yeah. So it all depends on the head on.
But he does get squeezed there. Look at, he's throwing his head, and he's still outside of Prince of Praise. Now you watch, finally, he lets him go and cuts back across his heels.
Well, the head on, as I said, Ken's going to tell the story. There's no doubt he has got a strong chance to get this race. Another thing is the last 100 metres. How much ground does he make up the last 100 metres?
Look, that's the very most relevant thing. He still got beat a length and a half. The only thing in March Hare's favour was that he lost all momentum and he had to check from, say, 3/4 of a length behind him, and he lost at least a half a length doing that, plus the momentum.
Yes, you're dead right, Ken, but you know these protests, they're funny things at times.
We can't second-guess John Schreck. He usually proves us wrong.
Well, another thing is here, Ken, looking at this, the winner's getting away from him here.
Yeah.
Just on that slow-mo. The winner's starting to stretch out and put about a length or 2 lengths on the other horse. Now, that's going to help Prince of Praise's chances to hold the race.
Most important, yeah. The last 100 metres, there's no doubt he went home the better. The boys are still there in the steward's room. I explained to viewers earlier, Shane, after the jockeys each give their evidence, both trainers and owners are then asked to, if they'd like to ask the other jockeys any questions. The films are watched, then they ask questions again, and then the stewards kick everyone out of the room.
The major thing in protests, Ken, is when you go out with all the connections and the stewards view it, if they say to come back in very shortly, you've got no hope of holding the race. It's always dismissed. But if the stewards take their time, and it's a long time to go back into the steward's room, it's normally upheld.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If it's a quick decision, it's usually protest dismissed.
Yeah.
So if you're on March Hare, you want to hope it takes a fair while.
A long time.
And our mate Fatty Vorton's on March Hare. Fatty, you need to have a lot of patience. Because we've got patience, we'll take a break and then come back with more on today's special edition of the Wide World of Sports. Back here at Randwick, still no word on this protest in the All-Age Stakes, an important one in a Group 1 race. The second horse, March Hare, the rider Mark de Montfort has protested against the winner, Prince of Praise, being declared the winner. Both parties have seen the film. The jockeys are still talking. They're now giving their other side to the story after seeing the film. Shane Dye's still with me. Shane, any word on what people think just watching it?
No, well, there's plenty of grounds for a protest, and it's a tough one to decide because there's no doubt it does cost March Hare a lot of ground at about the 200 metres. But if you have a look at the replay, the last 50 metres, Prince of Praise is getting away from March Hare, which will help Prince of Praise's chances. But looking at the steward's room now, Craig Carmody's just giving his evidence, and about 2 minutes from now, they'll all come out of the room, and then the stewards will make their decision.
Shane, the opinion of you and I doesn't count for anything now. It's not worth the tinker's curse. Yep. It's up to what John Schreck and his merry men think. If you were a steward, what would you do with it on what we've seen? Well,
I'd like to see the head-on, to be sure, but I'd say dismissed at this stage because the winner was getting away from the second horse. But, you know,
well, Shane,
the head-on's the vital evidence.
Yeah, we'll hope to see that head-on later in the afternoon, Shane, after the stewards are finished with it. But at the moment, of course, they're using it.
Ken, another thing there is Soho Square. Did he shift in a fraction and bump March Hare?
Yeah, good point.
You can't see that on the side on film. You can only see it on the head-on. But look, he's lost a good length, March Hare, there, if not more.
That's exactly right, but he was beaten a length and a half, and it might surprise Shane, but I agree with him. I think I'd dismiss it, but with the rider, of course, as Shane said, we need to see that head-on. But there's no doubt there was interference, considerable interference, and it's anything but a frivolous protest. It's a very important one. I reckon it'll be just like the toss of a coin. Just here, this last little bit, you see Prince of Praise go away again. A horse who ran in that race, incidentally, Skating, who Connections thought was a little bit disappointing. She won the Doncaster last year. One of her owners, Mr. Michael Sicilian of the Sedgenhose Stud, has just told me that she's been retired. That will be her last run, and Skating will go to the sire, Palace Music, the sire of naturalism, in the spring.
And the foal will be worth a lot of money.
Will it what, Shane? Okay, we can't tell you much more here. You've seen the replay plenty of times. We'll go back to our central commentary point and Max Walker.
Thanks, well done, boys. There, a lot of conjecture, a lot of drama here at Royal Randwick, and we'll bring you up to date as soon as we get word. Okay, one lucky viewer who can certainly afford to have a bet in the next, the Galaxy here at Randwick, is Jeffrey Scutts of Mount Druitt in New South Wales. Congratulations there. Our computer has selected you as today's second winner of the $2,000 New South Wales Phone TAB prize in our Memorable Moments giveaway. There's one more $2,000 prize to be won too. All you have to do is take a look at our list of memorable moments and give us a call on the number corresponding.
Placing stand on the All-Age Stakes, with Prince of Praise first and March Hare second. First of all, I might speak with the trainer of Prince of Praise, Bruce Wallace. A very happy man, I think. What did you think of the protest? You're worried?
Well, I was a little bit going into it. I could see a bit of jostling at the top of the straight, but once we got in there and had a look at the film, I think March here brought himself undone a little bit.
Did Prince of Praise surprise you, Bruce?
Well, no, he's a Randwick specialist, and I brought him over deliberately to give him a couple of runs. We waited for Randwick. It was our plan to run him Saturday and instead of galloping him, to have him fit for today. And, you know, he's incredible odds. I hope the punters podium or whatever they call it got on him, because for a horse that's running second in the Epsom, I thought he was great odds. But no, he's a Randwick horse, and you've got to stick with him because of that.
Good on you, mate. Go and accept your trophy, and
thanks a lot.
Good luck. Bruce Wallace. Now, a man with me now, my very good mate, Mr. Rod Gallegos, one of the senior turf riders on the Sydney Telegraph Mirror. Rod was in the inquiry, heard all the evidence. Rod was just as stunned.
Oh, there's no doubt, Ken, in fact, barristers get about 5,000 a day for what Bruce Wallace did in about 30 seconds. He rather succinctly pointed out that March Hare caused the trouble in trying to bullock out, and in fact he argued that March Hare put Prince of Praise off balance, and with that Prince of Praise started to drift out after being hit in the hind quarters, and obviously the stewards, with a very brief deliberation, agreed.
Yeah, it was surprisingly brief, Rod. The head-on film, did it show a lot?
Well, it shows, in fact, Mick Dickman is on the outside and he is trying to hold Mark de Montfort in the pocket. And with that, there's that little bit of tightening, and that's when Prince of Praise's hindquarters get struck, and then he starts to lay out a bit further. But quite obviously, the stewards agreed that Craig Carmody didn't cause any of the interference. In fact, it was a very good ride by Craig.
It certainly was, Rod, and thanks for keeping the viewers up to date on the protest information.
Matter of fact, it could have been the only winner I picked all day, because when I walked out of the room, I said, this will be dismissed.
You told me that, and you were spot on.
Thanks,
Good on
Ken.
you, Rod. Rod Gallegos, and a surprisingly quick stewards deliberation on the All-Age Stakes. If you back the winner, as we told you, you get $49.70 for every dollar you had on him. I wish I'd have spoken to Bruce Wallace before the race. He sounded as though he was half keen on him. Well, Bruce has come over here with Prince of Praise and Kingston Bay. He nearly got the big 1,600-metre double at Randwick this weekend. On that note, another break, and then back with more on the wide world of sports.
Mercy's sword is mercy found between the saddle.
Mine.
Back at Royal Randwick, we're about 15 minutes away from the start in the Galaxy. Here now is Kenny Callender.
Yes, Ken, we're exactly 15 minutes from the start, because the race has been put back 5 minutes and will now officially start at 3:50 Eastern Standard Time because of the hold-up with the protest hearing. Right, and I've got the early betting. Number 1, Scalacci, as we heard, with the track just a tiny bit damp, has been scratched. Very fair reading today too, track dead. Number 2, Big Dreams, is at 9-1. Ken Vane at 7-1. Claire O'Sullivan, number 4, is getting out to 13-2. Sublimate is a 30-1 chance. Gaetana from Melbourne into about 8-1 now. TAB number 7, Let's Hurry, at 30-1. Slight Chance at 33-1. Brawny Spirit, TAB number 9, is at 4-1. Got a great chance. Harry White's riding Brawny Spirit. Good to see Harry in Sydney. Jet Ball is a 14-1 chance. Royal Discard, Craig Carmody rode the last winner. It's in now to 16-1. Chiliad, I've backed Chiliad. Got a great chance in a hard race. It's like a lotto prize, this one. You've got to be very lucky. Chiliad is at 9-2, second favourite on the TAB. Simpose, TAB number 13, has just come in a fraction to 11-1. He'll get a good run from his inside alley. Stormy Regent is a 40-1 chance. Giant Slide is at 80-1, and Peggy Ann is scratching. An 1,100-metre mad scamper. I'm backing Chiliad to run over the top of them. What are you going to do, Fatty?
Yeah, a bit unlucky that protest. I thought if March Hare gets any sort of a run, it gives Prince of Praise windburn as it goes past it, but it dead set unlucky. Personally, I would have upheld the protest.
Of course you would have. You'd know more than John Schreck, wouldn't you?
John who? Anyway, in this race, get on Chiliad. It'll look a long way out. It'll look a bit dusty, but it's got a very good finish. The last 200 will fly and will win.
I think a horse here trained by Johnny Marr, Gitana, it hasn't had a lot of luck. Its last 2 starts down in Melbourne. I think it's due for a win, and today will be it.
Back to you, Kenny.
Yeah, thanks very much, Fatty. Can't help himself that, Simon. He's got to stick with the Melbourne horses. He'll learn. Righto, Fatty, you're on the right one. Kiliad from Sydney, trained by Johnny Hawkes out at Warwick Farm. There they are, the horses milling around, starting to walk along, and TAB number 11 is Royal Discard. He's also a Melbourne horse, and as I said a moment or two ago, he's ridden by Craig Carmody. Craig, he'll be on a real high after that last one. The horse in the background in the cerise colours, that's Kiliad, the one that Fatty and I have put our money on. Kiliad, as Fatty told you, gets back in the race, but he'll steam home. That's the Canberra trained horse there in the blue colours, Stormy Regent, actually trained at Yass just out of Canberra by Ken Callaghan. And TAB number 15, who we didn't quite see in pinky colours, would have been Giant Slide. A great shot of Randwick there. You can see the big stands in the background, part of the huge crowd, and that's the saddling enclosure where the horses are walking around, and they hope to be first back through the gate after the race, and there obviously would have won. That's Jetball, TAB number 10, ridden by Gavin Eads, followed along by TAB number 12 was Kiliad. That's Simpose there, and there's the horse we saw a few minutes ago, Stormy Regent, followed by Giant Slide. All horses look an absolute treat at carnival time. They've been set for these big races by their trainers, and they've responded in magnificent heart. Now they're about to go out for the Galaxy. The Galaxy's another Group 1 race. It's a 1,100 metre race, carries prize money of $250,000, of which the winner gets $170,000. There's Clan O'Sullivan, former boom horse with Grant Cooksley in the saddle, and he's followed along by Sublimate in the blue colours. And here is the one Simon Tip, Gatana. Gatana in, looks almost like St Kilda's colours there, in black, yellow and red. And TAB number 7, Let's Hurry. Let's Hurry in brown with pink seams. The very flash colours there of Brawny Spirit. TAB number 9. There's Jetball, Gavin Eads, won the Doncaster. Jetball trained by the master Rosehill trainer Jack Denham. He's followed by Royal Discard. There's Craig Carmody aboard him. And then there's Kiliad in the cerise colours. He's easy to pick up. Young Darryl McClellan, the jockey. Simpose has got a great winning record. He's had 8 starts for 6 wins, and here's a man who's had nearly as good a record as that today, and that's Ron Dufficy. Which one caught your eye, Ron?
Oh, this is a lottery, Ken. This is luck's going to play a big part here. I like John Maher's mare, Gatana. She hadn't got a great deal of pace. There's a heap of pace in the race. I can just visualise her being in the back end of the field, switching to the outside and getting home very strong over the top of them.
Just tell me this, Simon O'Donnell didn't ask you for a tip, did he?
No, he didn't.
No, well, he's tipped Gatana. I don't know where else he'd get it. Simon, come here. Ronnie Dufficy just told me that he's tipping Gatana. You didn't ask him for a tip, did you?
He's a very, very smart man, Ronnie.
Now, what are those colours? They almost look like St Kilda colours.
Yeah, well, it's a bit spooky. I'm more spooked not by the colours, that Ronnie thinks the same way I do. That's very spooky for Ronnie's health, basically, and welfare.
It's about time you got one home first.
I'd love to get one home fair dinkum, because you're laughing all the way to the bank. But, mate, I'll always remember that thing earlier in the day.
That fat horse?
You said it races fat. It raced fat, all right. Fair dinkum, it grazed on the grass halfway up the straight.
You can't beat him. He's been learning off that fat man. Righto, Duff, let's get back to serious business. You like Gatana a bit? Just looking at walking past me, the choice of jockey didn't have anything to do with your decision, did it, Larry Cassidy?
Well, he has got a bit of form on the board today. He's ridden the 2 winners, and I've got a lot of time for the trainer. He doesn't come here unless he thinks he can win. There's another very good mare here, being trained to win this race too, number 7, Let's Hurry.
OK, let's look at them on screen now. Just going out of the picture is...
He thinks the horse has improved, and this track's going to be right up his alley, this dead track.
Yeah, got a great chance, Brawny Spirit. He'll set the pace. The question might be whether he can hang on. We'll know shortly, because the race is time to go in about 8 minutes, and you'll see it live here on the Wide World of Sports.
The third leg of the big treble at Randwick today. This is the Ansett Australia Galaxy Group 1, 1,100 metres. And this is a fairly new race on the AJC calendar, inaugurated in 1972. Last year it was won by Sublimate, who's running again this year, but he's got a lot more weight in 1994. In fact, he carries 4 kilos more than he had 12 months ago, Ken.
Yes, John, in centre screen there is Clan O'Sullivan and Simpose, 2 of the main chances. Clan O'Sullivan in the black and gold checks with the blue sleeves, and Simpose on his outside. Now, here are the prices. Scalacci scratched. Number 2, Big Dreams at 10 to 1. Ken Vane at 7, Clan O'Sullivan at 7. Sublimate, as John told you, last year's winner, not expected to do it this year. He's at 30 to 1. Gatana carrying the hopes of Simon O'Donnell. He's at 8 to 1. Let's Hurry at 25 to 1. Slight Chance at 33 to 1. Brawny Spirit, the likely leader, Not too many have won over on the rails today. They've drifted off in the straight, those that have led. Brawny Spirit is at 9-2. Jetball at 14-1. Royal Discard at 14-1. Kiliad is at 9-2. Simpose, just in a point as I talk, will get a good run from his inside alley. He's at 10-1. Stormy Regents also come in into about 30-1 there, or 31-1. And Giant Slide, well, he's a roughie. He's at